What's going on, boys? Welcome back to another video. Early morning, but here we go. Uploaded this just a couple of hours ago. Thought I'd have my breakfast and reread this perfectly, of course, in live with you guys now. This is the patch number 9, and there's a reason why. Well, if you're part of my FIFA school, you will know that I've not taught you anything to do with the bridge, or nor I've taught you to do anything with the stepovers, because they are completely, well, they were going to be completely nerfed. They should have got nerfed earlier. I think they got delayed because of, COVID, and obviously all the patches got delayed. It should have happened in December, to be honest. But next gen came out, everything got delayed, so it's understandable. Let's just go over the first thing. So the most important things I wanted to go over is number 1, reduce consistency of the ball trajectory after successfully performing a skill move which involved launching the ball in the air. So maybe this is to do with the kick-ups. Is this all ball trajectory for all skill moves? But it says performing a skill move which launches the ball in the air. So does that mean that Palazzi flick, the rainbow, all those skill moves? I mean, is the rainbow put together with the Palazzi flick, the flick up, the flick up crosses where you tap in the R3 button? So I don't know how they're kind of bunching all the skill moves together, but they say performing a skill move, so I'm presuming it applies to everything. I'm happy with this. I've not got an issue with this because I think the rainbow maybe is a tad bit too effective for my liking anyway. I think if you stand still, sometimes you get beaten with a rainbow, and I think you should only get beaten with a rainbow if your opponent really comes towards you, or if they move towards you, not if you're kind of standing still, kind of going backwards. Sometimes your opponent does glitch out, but we'll see. I can't really comment on that because you have to kind of see this in motion. And this is the flick up trajectory consistency in case the flick up performed directly from a skill move. This is to fix that nonsense kick up thing where, when the ball was so high that the player's foot couldn't reach it from kickoff. So I suppose they kind of go in together, but I think this, I think maybe they reduced individually the flick up ball trajectory, because I know that people are just spamming the flick ups on the kickoff. I mean, you know what I'm talking about. I'm pretty sure you saw some of these guys. I mean, I don't understand why they do it. I understand if you're like trying to abuse the game, but what's the point? But that is something. Reduce consistency of flick ups while performing running with the ball. That's the same thing as the one above. I'm presuming there's a separate nerf individually for that one as well. I think this is the most important thing, obviously, from kickoff again. So I think, all four, should I say, all 3 points and a sub point kind of relay all the way to, of course, flicking up anyway. But I think the reduced consistency ball trajectory of performance skill move launches the ball in the air for all skill moves, and maybe the more individual nerf. Again, we have to test this. They always made this quite ambiguous. You kind of have to test it out for yourself. Reduced effectiveness of volley chips when taken. I've not noticed, not this year. I can't imagine it being that bad, but I'm presuming they've done their testing. 60 means reduced effectiveness in far taken up from virtual taking. Okay. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I've not really noticed a big thing with volleys. I find myself missing more volleys than taking them. I don't take volley shots because in my eyes it's more RNG. I'd rather control the ball, do a fixture on the goalkeeper and guarantee it, as opposed to volleying it. But if they want to reduce to volley chip shots, then maybe there is something that we don't know about, or I don't know about, maybe, or maybe there's a bug in the game that they are aware of that maybe we haven't, of course, found out, or we have, or not we, not I, but I mean, we as a community haven't really found out together. But consider we reduce the probability of the referee calling for the end of the match during a potential goal scoring opportunity. Well, they need to be careful about how they do this, because people are going to start complaining when it's 92 minutes and it goes to 94 minutes when you have the ball. Now, this is what's known as the final attack. If, for example, the timer is, or this is the general rule of thumb, right? If the timer is, let's say, 92 plus 2, and let's say, for example, the match is meant to end, let's just say the match is meant to end, in theory, at 92 plus 3. Look at this terrible handwriting. If for example, let's say in the pitch, let's say the ball is in, let's just say in this half, your opponent's attacking half, then the referee won't blow the whistle. So this could potentially go up to, 95 minutes in theory. People are going to complain, oh yeah, why isn't the referee blowing the whistle? I think this is a good thing. It's considered the final attack. The way you avoid this is just literally hold the ball yourself at 89 minutes, and that way you guarantee the final attack yourself, and that way you won't get rigged by the game. 45 and 90 minute goals, in my opinion, fundamentally do not exist in the game. I looked over 300 clips. Human error, I would say, most of the time is the reason why people who believe in the 90-minute goal is the reason why most of the time they concede anyway, because they start rushing out thinking they can play it manually or whatever. A lot of the time it's human error. Occasionally you will get a deflection, but it's no different from any other minute. The only reason why the 90th minute and the 45th are more noticeable is because obviously it's added on time. And if it's 90 minutes plus 3, if you score at plus 3, it's considered 90. So the longest minutes in the game, and that's the reason people believe in 45 and 90 minute goals. That's my opinion on it. I mean, of course people want to believe whatever they want. But that is, I understand from someone who's looked at maybe 300 plus clips of this over the last 2-3 years. It does not exist in the game, but I think this is a good addition because that way it won't kind of stop that thing, and as a result, each time can now last for a longer period. Of course, that's going to happen naturally, but there's going to be some people like, why is the referee not blowing the whistle? But that's just part of the game. In my opinion, the ball should only really be called when the ball is at the halfway line, when your opponent has the ball, or so let's say, for example, the only time this should realistically be called, let's assume this is your opponent's half, right? Let's say this is the box, right? At this point, I think if the ball is over here, let's say the added time is 90 plus 2, right? And let's say it's now 90 plus 2 exactly. I think if it's at this time right now and the ball's middle of the pitch, I think here, yes, the referee should blow the whistle. If the ball is here, here, or here, I think in these 3 situations, the referee should not blow the whistle. If the ball then goes out for a corner, it shouldn't be a corner in play. It should be the final attack. What is this ad? Unbelievable. One second, let me just quickly skip through this ad. Even I don't put this many ads in my videos. Jesus. But yeah, in this situation over here, then yes, I would say the referee can't blow the whistle. If it goes out then for a corner, in my opinion, the referee should let the game should let the corner play, because in theory it's an attacking chance. It shouldn't happen in theory because, 90 plus 2, that should be the final attack. I would love for the game just to end it right there abruptly. That means if you have the ball over here and your opponent pushes you out wide, then that's it. It's end the game. But I think EA got to introduce a thing where if you get a corner, you get a corner. It'll be considered part of the final attack. But that's just one thing to bear in mind. What's next? Okay, so addressing the following issues. When defending against the bridge skill move or jockeying, the defender could temporarily slow down unintentionally. Now, I want to show you something. I'll give you a minute. This is from the man himself, Stallion. I hope you haven't asked you permission, but I'll probably ask you after I upload this video. Have a look at this. It kind of sums it up perfectly, in my opinion. I'll give you a minute to read it. But anyway, like I was saying, I think it sums up perfectly, right? So he says, if you are mad about that, you're not looking to outplay people, you're looking to rig people. And the big issue with the bridge is, now listen, number one, there's two reasons why people can't defend with the bridge, okay? First of all, when it comes to the bridge, I agree, it's been untouched. I would love the speed to be maybe reduced a little bit, maybe the velocity of the exit to be reduced by maybe 20%. Personally speaking, that's my opinion. All that's changed now, the bridge won't be glitched and stuck after the opponent. Well, the way I read it anyway, as is, if you stand and you defend, there's two reasons why people can't defend the bridge. Number one, their positioning is completely out of whack. Number two, they're using a normal jockey as opposed to the running jockey. That's another big thing. Stop using the normal jockey to defend. Use the running jockey to defend, and that should be the issue. And the third thing is, I think, is the glitch. That's the current way they're kind of going past. A lot of the time is glitching through your opponent, and that's kind of the big issue with the bridge. Now, they said when defending against a bridge skill move while jockeying, and I'm presuming running jockey is considered jockeying because I suppose they kind of bundle it together as a move. The defender could temporarily slow down unintentionally. Now, this is what I think the issue was. I think if, for example, your opponent was over here and he bridges into this area and you're over here, you might read this. Now, if you use a normal jockey, you're going to get beaten here. But if you used correctly the running jockey here, you should be able to get the ball. But sometimes this player just kind of glitches out and just stands there. Or if, for example, you're over here directly in front of him and someone just spams the bridge skill move for absolute no reason, the player just glitches out. And I hope this is fixed with that. I know they say the defender could temporarily slow down unintentionally. I mean, I would replace this to the defender could temporarily glitch, but of course they're never going to admit that. They're not going to say, oh yeah, the player was glitching the entire time. So more of just like a politically worded, not politically correct, but one in their favor anyway. But yeah, I think that should address the issue. Again, we'll have to test this out, but I do hopefully think it's probably number one, it's a slowing down and when the kind of animation messes up when your player doesn't move. But number two, it's sometimes when the player goes through you. But then it's kind of like when you're defending anyway, if someone does the bridge skill move into you, or even just tries to run past you and you defend it correctly, sometimes you still don't get the ball. So the bridge is still going to be effective because, you know, we all know how tackling is this game, absolute shambles. So I still think the bridge is effective, but I don't think it's broken where you can just keep spamming it every single 5 seconds. And thank God for that, because I don't even use the bridge skill. But in my opinion, the bridge skill move shouldn't even be in the game, or at least in a different capacity from what it is, in my opinion. When defending, it's kind of like, you know, flicking your right stick switch. You know, when you flick your right stick switch, you don't assume to beat someone. You know what I mean? You try to push it into the space. I think the bridge skill move could only be used if, and it should be only be used if there's 2 players here, and let's say you are basically running towards the player, your opponent is running towards you, and you bridge past him, or the directed bridge. I think that's the only 2 viable options in my opinion. But yeah, when I was reading something. When defending player perform the tackle unsuccessfully, I win the ball. The tackler's foot could partially through the portion of the ball. This is probably the biggest thing, probably the best thing, if it's addressed properly. More bigger than the bridge skill move. This is what I wanted. This was a big thing. Sometimes when the player was very unsuccessful in tackle, even sometimes successful, the tackler's foot could pass through the ball, which is stupid. Like sometimes you'll see like the second part of the foot, or like you miss the ball and the ball just go through your foot. This is the reason why I actually concede a lot of my goals, because I wouldn't press the tackle button. I would just hold the run and jockey, but the game registered as a tackle and the ball just go through my feet. So thankfully that is fixed. It happens more times than you probably think. If you go back and watch your highlights, I find it happens more times than I think. And if it just registers the movement as like a velocity change of the ball, and therefore the ball goes somewhere else, I'm more than happy with that. But it says here, this does not impact the success or failures of tackles. The tackling player is now more likely to make the same contact with the ball in these situations. And this is the thing. If you use a run and jockey, sometimes if you run into your opponent, the game puts you into, like, in theory, a tackling animation. In theory, I don't know if it actually registers as that, but extended you're just walking into the ball and kind of collecting the ball as opposed to tackling the ball. So I don't know how that's going to really work. I don't know if that will register correctly, but as you can see, it says this does not impact the success or failure of tackles. The tackling player is now more likely to make the same contact with the ball in these situations. So you're not gonna see some next level successful tackles. You're probably still gonna see those glitches out where the player doesn't get the ball properly. Following a specific type of goalkeeper pass through an offline match. I cannot speak on this because I don't even play online. I don't even play squad battles. So I can't even comment on this. I'm trying. 1 second. I can't comment on this because I've not experienced this. Timer could freeze. This happens sometimes when I transfer menu on the screen. The viewing search result. I didn't see that. Didn't see that during friendlies. I don't know about that. Okay, so a lot of this stuff, like pro clubs, and with all due respect, it's the pro clubs. It's not my area. I don't play pro clubs. Volta, with all due respect, I couldn't care less about Volta. With David Beckham, with 1 existing star head and 4 legacy star heads, I'm presuming. Okay, that's fine. But we're gonna change the Beckham face there. Okay, so that is basically the pitch notes. We kind of went through it. I'm happy with these pitch notes. I would have personally loved to have seen a reduction in the speed of the bridge by 20%. There should be things that we know that should be in the game. Teammate contain should be buffed. At least buff teammate contain to the fact where you're basically running. Maybe the game slows you down when you go towards your opponent, and maybe it doesn't do anything to make it at least effective. So at least you can manually switch to that player. Defending hasn't been nerfed. AI defending hasn't been nerfed. AI interceptions, AI blocks, but I think we all know that by now, and there's no point crying about the same thing over and over again. They're not going to change it. It's pretty much, well, I suppose you can say it's evident by the way they're veering in the direction with the patch notes that they don't really care about the defensive side, making the game more casual. But I'm happy they fixed the bridge nonsense and the step over just a couple of weeks before that. I'm happy they also fixed this because I don't see it that much. I know how to defend against it. You basically move your body just way in front of it, but a lot of people didn't. But that's kind of my review on the pitch notes. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you next time. Peace out.